The sound of the monitor was deafening. Beep! 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 Ava's gloved hands moved in rhythm, pressing against the woman's chest, sweat streaking down her temple. "Come on, stay with me," she shouted. The ER was chaos, voices clashing, alarms screaming, the metallic scent of blood sharp in the air. A crowd of nurses and doctors stood frozen for a heartbeat, watching Ava, watching her fight to bring life back into the woman who had once looked at her like she was less than human. "Charge! 200! Ava barked. The defibrillator pads were slick in her hands. She pressed them against the woman's pale chest. "Clear!" The woman's body jolted, and for a split second time stopped. Ava held her breath. Nothing. Again. "Clear!" The jolt hit harder. Then the monitor stuttered. A faint heartbeat blinked back into rhythm. "Got her!" someone shouted. Cheers broke out in the room, but Ava didn't smile. Her hands trembled as she stepped back, the weight of everything pressing down on her chest. She looked at the woman, unconscious, frail, still breathing, and swallowed hard. Just hours ago, this same woman had sneered at her. "I'd prefer someone else." "Someone more professional looking," the woman had said, forcing a brittle smile that tried to hide disgust. Ava had nodded, her face calm while her stomach burned. But now, she'd just saved her life. Hours earlier, the night had begun like any other. The fluorescent lights flickered as Ava walked into the emergency wing, her ID badge swinging lightly from her scrubs. She loved night shifts, the quiet before chaos, the sense that what she did mattered when most of the world was asleep. Her first patient had been a boy, 8 years old, white, pale, barely breathing when he came in. Ava had moved like instinct, oxygen, compression, call for the doctor. The boy lived. She'd even managed a small smile when the mother, tear-streaked, whispered, "Thank you." But then, when the doctor left, the tone changed. "I'd like a different nurse next time," the mother had said quietly, almost rehearsed. "It's nothing personal. Appearances matter, you know." Ava froze. "I'm sorry?" The woman smiled again. That polite, venomous smile. "You just don't look professional. I'm sure you understand. Every word was a slap. Every syllable, a reminder of what Ava had been fighting her entire life to prove, that her skin didn't define her skill. She'd nodded, forcing the words out through tight lips. "I understand." But inside, she didn't. Inside, she wanted to scream. The hours dragged on after that. Ava had worked through 3 emergencies, 1 cardiac arrest, and countless needle sticks. But her mind wouldn't let go of that woman's face. She could hear her mother's voice in her head, the voice that used to soothe her when kids in school called her names. "Don't let hate change who you are, baby. You keep doing good, even when good ain't done to you." She'd lived by that, every day, every patient, until the moment she saw that same woman, the same one who'd rejected her, rushed back into the ER car accident. Head trauma, chest injury. Critical. The world blurred around Ava. She heard one nurse whisper, "Isn't that the lady from earlier?" Another said, "Karma's quick," but Ava's body was already moving. There was no time for pride, no space for anger. She was a nurse, a healer, and someone's life was slipping away. Now, as she stood by the bedside, watching the woman breathe weakly, Ava felt her stomach twist. "Vital stabilizing," a doctor said. "Good work, Ava." She nodded mechanically, her mind replaying everything like a cruel echo. Hours later, as the adrenaline faded, she walked down the empty hospital hallway. The linoleum gleamed under harsh lights. Her hands still smelled faintly of antiseptic. She sat on the bench near the break room, burying her face in her hands. She didn't cry. She couldn't. She'd saved countless lives before, but this one hurt differently. Her co-worker, Luis, walked up quietly, holding 2 paper cups of coffee. "You okay?" Ava looked up. "I don't know." He handed her a cup and sat beside her. "You did your job. You saved her." A bitter laugh escaped her lips. "Yeah. I saved the woman who thought I wasn't good enough to touch her son." Luis sighed. "That's the thing about people like her. They don't see who we are until they need us." Ava stared into the dark coffee. "And then what?" They forget again? He shrugged. Maybe, but you didn't do it for her. You did it because you're you. She sat in silence, the truth of his words sinking deep. Morning light spilled through the narrow window. The chaos of night had given way to the hum of routine. Ava was on her way out when a voice stopped her. Excuse me? She turned. The woman, pale, weak, lying on the hospital bed, was awake. Her eyes were red, her voice fragile. You're the nurse who saved me? Ava said nothing. I'm sorry, the woman whispered, her voice cracking. For what I said earlier. I didn't. You did, Ava interrupted softly. The woman's face crumpled. I was wrong. Ava took a slow breath, fighting the ache rising in her chest. You were scared. But so was I. And I still did my job. The woman nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. Thank you. Ava turned to leave, her heart heavy. Get some rest, she said quietly. As the door closed behind her, Ava let out a shaky breath she didn't know she'd been holding. She wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. Tired of proving she belonged. Outside, the world felt strangely calm. The sky was soft blue, the kind of morning that hinted at hope. She pulled her jacket tighter around her and walked toward the parking lot. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mother. Good morning, baby. Remember, kindness doesn't make you weak. Ava smiled faintly. Maybe her mother was right. Maybe saving that woman didn't make her foolish. It made her strong. She got into her car and started the engine. The radio played softly, the day just beginning. As she drove away from the hospital, her reflection flickered in the mirror. Tired eyes, but a steady gaze. She'd face it all again tomorrow. The looks, the whispers, the quiet doubt, but she'd keep saving lives. She'd keep showing the world what strength looked like, even when it broke her heart.